Hello and welcome to another Stamping and Creating with Fiona. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Fiona Whitten and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in Wokingham in Berkshire here in the UK. These Stamping and Creating Facebook Lives I do in between doing my card and a cuppers. So today I want to share with you the new Waves of the Ocean collection that will be available next week starting on the 1st of March. It's a pre-release, so you won't actually find it in any current catalogues. It will be in the upcoming 2022 catalogues, but it's not in any of the current catalogues. Excuse me. I'm just sorting out my iPad so I can see what. Right. Morning, Tricia. Just see what's going on. Right. Okay. So I'm with it now. So, as I said, this is going to be in the 2022 annual catalogue, but this is the second early release. So the previous one was the All Together collection, and then, as I said, this is the Waves of the Ocean collection. So the things that you will find in the 2022 catalogue are the Waves of Inspiration stamp set. So this is a cling stamp set, so it's red rubber. There are 7 stamps, including this rather gorgeous wave and the pelican, which I've used that numerous times already. So, and I will be showing a couple of the cards that I've already made. In addition to the Waves of Inspiration stamp set, there are also the Waves dies, and this set contains 10 dies. So there are waves, kind of goes without saying. There's an image that will cut out the pelican. There is, where is it? This image here, where you can just die cut out seagulls or whatever birds, albatrosses that you want to call them. We have clouds, and the clouds themselves are actually, there's 2 bits to each cloud, and I'll show you on a card that I've made. And then these here are for sentiments. So it's a very versatile die set. So as I said, the stamp set and the wave dies, so the Waves of Inspiration and the wave dies, will be in the annual catalogue. You can get them now as a bundle or individually or as a complete collection. Now there are also some other items which are only going to be available from the 1st of March to the 2nd of May, and they are on a while supplies last basis. So we have some Waves Basic Jewels, and they come in 3 colours. And there are also 3 different sizes. So there's 3mm, 4mm and 5mm. So as you can see, the graduation of the sizes here. So we have Night of Navy. So it's basically the greens and the blues. They haven't actually named them, I don't think. Let's see. I did actually print out a thing. So, oh yes, it says... so we've got Coastal Cabana, Night of Navy and Pacific Point. So those are the 3 colours. And then there's also some double-sided paper. Now the paper comes as 12 by 12, so I decided I was going to cut them down so that I wasn't wielding huge sheets of paper at the moment. So it's a pack of 12 by 12, the usual 12 sheets, double-sided sheets. So I just cut these down. So they're very dramatic, for want of a better description. So we have all the blues, looks like bubbles, and then we've got we've got petal pink and daffodil and Coastal Cabana on some. So I'll go through the colours in a minute, and then this has got some what do we say, Granny Apple Green on, Coastal Cabana, Pacific Point. So it looks more like bubbles, and we've got the yellows again. I was looking at it and thinking, why would we want yellows and pinks and things in there? But actually, it's really gorgeous. This one comes as obviously as a larger sheet, so we have more bubbles, waves, and I like this because you could do this as a shoreline and all sorts of things. There's so many different options. Water, so it's sort of a marbly effect. Now there is a video which I'll share which shows how they designed this paper. More Coastal Cabana. This one in particular is very dramatic. It looks like waves crashing. And on the other side, it's a little bit more calmer because it's Coastal Cabana and Pacific Point and Night of Navy. And then again, we've got some more bubbles and waves. It was more flat here, so we've got Granny Apple Green and Night of Navy and Pacific Point and Coastal Cabana. And then on the other side, it's again much lighter, not as dramatic. So that's the paper. So there's a pack of paper. And then there's also a pack of 12 by 12 foils. And these come in, oops, she says, so we have Night of Navy, silver, and a rather lovely Coastal Cabana. So, so there's a pack of 6 foils, 2 of each of the 3 colours. Well, I mean, that's assuming you call silver a colour. I mean, I do, but so yeah. So we've got Night of Navy silver, and we've got Coastal Cabana. And you get 2 sheets of each of those. So those foils are available again until the 2nd of May, which is when the day before the new catalogue launches. So if you want any of the paper or the foils or the rhinestones, then you need to get those orders in before the 2nd of May. These ones are only available until then, and they're on a while stocks last basis, just so that you are aware, okay? So that's everything that's in the collection. And I'm just going to show you some of the cards that I have made. So this is one of the first cards that I've made. And so this is the wave. And here I used both Night of Navy and Pacific Point on the same stamp. And then stamp that. This is not full size. Just so you know, I sort of, actually thinking about it, this one is full size. I cut it exactly so that it actually fitted on the cardstock. These are the little clouds, so hopefully you can see that they are, as I said, there's 2 different elements to it. So there's your basic fluffy cloud, and then there's a bit here that you can put on top if you want to, and there's 2 different sorts. So this one and this one are the same, and then this is a different cloud. And then the die cuts for the birds, you have ones with more, the wings that are more outspread, and then you have one where it's sort of, they're, I don't know, closing their wings. And then just put some paper on the inside. So that was my first card. Second card that I made, I used the pelicans. So I really like these. And I did one in Smoky Slate, and then that one's in Night of Navy. So piece of the paper, I stamped the sentiment and then die cut it out. That's fixed on with foam, with dimensionals. Put a piece of the denim ribbon around, tied it in a knot. Actually, I cheated. I put a piece around and it's only glued sort of just to the back. And then that, rather than tying it as a knot, I just had a separate piece and just tied it as a knot. It's a lot easier and a lot quicker. And then on the inside, so again, I've got the wave on the inside. So this is Pacific Point. So So that's that one. This one is a card that I made on Monday as part of my Monday Makes with the Acorns. Those of you who've not heard of that before, I get together on Zoom with my team, and we take it in turns, but I have to say it is mostly me to come up with an idea for a card, and then we talk people through. People don't have to have the same stamp set, but everyone makes the same basic fold or whatever, and then they decorate it how they want to. So this was mine. Started off as nearly half a sheet of the 12 by 12. So you can see just how dramatic it is, this particular piece. And then it's with a case of simple scoring. You make the folds, and then you have a piece of white or coordinating cardstock on the inside that you can write on. So I stamped a pelican on that, and then I stamped the 3. So this one here is stamped on, and then these 2, I stamped them onto some scrap and die cut them out, and then I staggered them. So this one here has a bit that I've chopped off the bottom. And then I used the stitch rectangles just to create the happy birthday. So this is actually going to be my son's birthday card. Now these little items, little bits of stone down here, are actually they are in the January to June mini catalogue, and they're called, I'll show you them, they're called Foci glass shapes. I did think I could use the little pebbles, but I don't actually have any of those. So I decided I was going to use these instead. And I do believe, I haven't tried it, you can actually colour them with Stampin' blends, alcohol markers. So I might give that a go another time. So that's what I used on the bottom of that card. So I'm going to show you how to make this card. It is pretty straightforward, she says, and then realises that I've actually gone and put the instructions somewhere. Bear with me for 2 seconds whilst I see what I did with them. It's always the way, you know, you have something and then put it to one side and, oh yes, I mustn't forget that. Right, here we go. Right, so we're going to start off with our sheet of double-sided paper. Now, obviously I'm using the Waves of the Ocean things for here. If you've got other paper that you want to use, then obviously go for it. I'm not one of those who thinks that just because I'm using one particular type that you have to do exactly the same. I'm throwing stuff around here. Right, so the question is, actually I'm going to get the paper out that I've already got. We'll use one of those. So what do you think? I think I might go with that one because I like the colours in that. So I've got my, just pretend that this is 12 by 12, which I've already cut down, but it's not to the exact size that I want. So I need to cut it so that it measures 15 centimetres wide, like so. So I'm only cutting off a little bit off that. And then it needs to be 28.5 centimetres long. Actually, I like the green, so I'm going to keep the green. Not quite sure where it's going to end up on the card, but I do like the green. So I'm going to cut it off that end. Right, okay, so that's what you need to start off with. So as I said, it's 15 tall by 28.5, and once you've scored it and folded it, it will just fit into a standard C6 envelope. Now, when you're scoring the double-sided paper, whatever you do, don't push too hard, because you really don't want to be taking that scoring tool right through the paper. So we're going to score, and the first the other thing you need to do is whatever you want to have on the outside of your card, you should have facing you. So this is going to be the outside of my card, or I could have this as the outside of my card. And bearing in mind that this is how much you only ever see of it, you may want to go simpler on the outside, but I actually quite like the dramatic, so I'm going to keep it this way round. So the first score is going to be at 10.5 centimetres. So all of my scoring and my cutting is in centimetres. So the first one's 10.5. The second one you're going to do at 17. And again, as a reminder, don't push too hard because you do not want to be going through your paper. And then the last score is going to be at 23.5 centimetres. So you should have a piece of double-sided paper that has been scored. So it was 10.5, which it is here, 17 and 23.5. There's a 17 and 23.5. Now the two outside score lines, so that one and that one, you're going to mountain fold. So when I say mountain fold, you're basically going to create a mountain with it. So it's a upside down V. So it'll look like that. And you're going to burnish that. And again, when it comes to the burnishing, you do need a good burnish on it, but at the same time, you don't want to be going through the paper. So the next one, we're going to fold it back on itself. Actually, no, it's... and then this one's going to be folded back again. So that is your basic card. So when you open it up, you have that on the inside and you have that on the outside. Now you're going to want to decorate this, and it's really up to you. I'm going to give you the measurements for the ones that I used for the other card. But if you want to make your front panel slightly different, then obviously you just need to make sure that what you're cutting is kind of symmetrical. So I want a piece that is going to go on the inside of the card so that you can write your sentiment. So I'm going to need a piece that is 14.5 centimetres. Let's check to see, and that's just a little bit too short. Let's try that one, 14.5. Yes. So I'm going to use that piece by 10 centimetres. So that is going to go on here. The trick, as always, is to make sure you stamp before you glue anything in. So I'm not going to stamp that just yet because I'm going to finish cutting the pieces that I want to put here. So I then need a piece of coloured cardstock because I want to have this sitting, my piece in the front sitting on something. And let's see, what colours do we primarily have on here? So we've got lots of Coastal Cabana, quite a bit Night of Navy, some Pacific Point. So I think I'm going to put a Night of Navy on here. Just find my Night of Navy. You would hope that I had a piece already cut, but I don't. So I'll get my Night of Navy cardstock, and I'm going to cut this to be 8 by 12.5 centimetres. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this in half, because then I always know that I have half a sheet I can make a base card out of. And I'll just work on this half. So I needed it to be 8 by 12.5. Now I know that that's nearly 15, so I can cut that at 8. And 12.5. Like so, which means then I need to cut then a piece of white that will fit on here. So that's 8 wide, so I need it to be 7.5 wide. And that's 12.5, so I need this to be 12. So that will sit on there like that once it's stamped. So the $64 million question is, what am I going to put on there? So it's going to look kind of like that. I think I might need to put a new blade in my trimmer because this paper's a bit fuzzy. So if you ever find that your paper is going a bit frayed at the edges, it's a sure sign that you probably need to put a new blade in your trimmer. It tends to happen quite a bit on things like the basic white, whereas the Night of Navy is fine. It's nothing, no fuzzy bits there. Right. Okay, so that's how that's going to work. So the question is, what am I going to do? Do we want pelicans? Do we just want sentiments? Anybody got any suggestions as to what we should, what I should stamp on here? Let's see. I'm just trying to see how much of this will be on here. I can't obviously turn it around, so I think it's going to be pelicans. So I'm going to put some pelicans on here, and we're going to put a sentiment on as well. So I'm going to put the sentiment onto some scrap white because I'm going to die cut that out. In fact, maybe I won't. Maybe I will do this here. I like using these stamps because you can play around with the images, so you can sort of start with one and then put another one on, and then that one will go. If I do like I did last time, so I'm going to put a series of pelicans on, which means that I need to stamp the first one and then I need to stamp and die cut the next ones. So let's start with those. And I'm going to use, I think I'm going to stick to the basic grey. That was the basic grey one. Oh, the Night of Navy is, actually, no, what I'm going to go, let's go for Night of Navy. What the heck? Let's be dramatic. Bit of artistic licensing, as I know pelicans are not really Night of Navy. So I'm just going to ink that up. And we're going to go part way up the card front because I want to be able to stagger them. So there's the first one. And then I'm going to stamp 2 more on here. I'm going to put one here. Like that, and hopefully I can squeeze the other one on. Let's see, can I? Actually, you know what? I know that I'm going to have to cut a bit off the bottom, so I'm not going to be too worried about the fact that it's hanging off the bottom of the cardstock. What's that? Let's move that out of the way. Put that there. Right, I'm just going to bring in my mini Stampin' Emboss because I know that those will fit through the machine. Those of you who've not seen this before, it's very cute. And it does everything that a big machine does. The only restriction being the width of things that you can put in it. So it comes with the plates that you will need to do all your die cutting and embossing. And the first plate will actually tell you how to make up your sandwich for die cutting. So it says here, place die down, and you need number 1 plate and 2 lots of number 2 plates. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put first of all, I'm going to put my first number 2 plate on, and then I'm going to put my images, and then I need to find my dies, which are here. Now, if you're like me, and you worry about your dies sliding around, then a good idea is to, before you put your cardstock on your plate, is just to line it up and then use a piece of washi tape or something that you can peel off without making a mark. So I'm just going to put a bit of washi tape on here, just on the head. Actually, yeah, I'm just going to put it across here like that, and then I know in theory it shouldn't move around. Okay, so I have that, and then I'm going to put my second plate on, and then I'm just going to wind it through, and sometimes it makes a cracking noise, sometimes it makes a thunking noise depending on where you have your plates. So that does. Now you don't want, when you're doing it, you don't want to have your plates all lined up, simply because sometimes it makes it a bit hard to feed through. So I always stagger my plates. So that's the first one. So 1 pelican, and then we're going to do exactly the same with the other one. And we're going to put some washi tape on his head. And the great thing about these is that you can go front, sideways, backwards. It depends on which way you prefer to have your machine. Now, where did I do it? You see, it does help. Don't put the plate back on in exactly the same place, then you can't find it. So this time we're going to wind it through the other way. And you don't want to force these, they should just go through. I mean, you will find that it shouldn't be so hard that you can't turn the handle. If you can't turn the handle, don't force it, you will break the machine. Right, and there's number 2. So there we got those. And starting next week, the mini Stampin' Boss machine's actually going to be on sale with 20% off. Stampin' Up have never reduced any of their machines, so it's going to be a great time to get yourself one. And what's more, there's going to be select die bundles also available with 20% off. And I'll be putting those details up soon. So we've got number 2 pelican, which I'm just going to glue on, and then number 3 pelican. Oh, see, look, I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to put on with some dimensionals. Now, before I do that, I do want to stamp my sentiment. Let's see. Let's just have a quick look and see how it's doing. So I'm going to put him on there. Him on there, and then I can put it down there, but actually at the end I think I might end up just die cutting that too, just to make sure. So glue, put some some glue on here. Don't have to go too mad with it. And just set him aside so you can see some of the other posts. I quite like the idea if I have his tail kind of in line with the post there. That seems to work quite well. And then this one I'm actually going to move down a bit. But again, as I said, I'm going to put this on with dimensionals. And yes, I do have them to hand. Round of applause, please. And I'm going to use some mini ones rather than the normal size ones. Just because I know then I can then fit one on the head and the neck. And you don't have to cover this completely with dimensionals. She says as proceeds to put on probably more than I need, but hey, they're my dimensionals. I can do as I like with them. There we go. So I want to line this one up with the bottom. So he's going to go here like that. So those are my pelicans. Just going to trim off some of that fluff. Pair of scissors, just run down the edge, works fine. If you have one of those glue erasers, like the rubber biscuit things, that works a treat too. So I'm going to put that on here. I can still see some. As soon as you put it on the back, on the backing of the Night of Navy, you'll start seeing it, and it gets really annoying. A bit of a bugbear. There we go. So we're going to put them on. Them. There's more than one. Like so. There's my eraser. So I don't know how I found this out, but it was something I found, and it's like, oh, it's a great tip. She says it doesn't want to work on that bit. Typical. Just use it. Point of your scissors to put it underneath. Okay, so I've got my 3 pelicans, and I just need to add a sentiment, and I need to put something on here, and I think I might put another pelican on here. Where do I want to put him? And do I want him showing? So that's the other question, is you may not want to have it showing. You might just want it to have it simple. Or of course you can put all sorts of other things. Or you could just put paper. You know what, I'm just going to go for it and put the pelican on. I could spend hours playing. And talking to myself, of course. Let's face it, us crafters do tend to talk to ourselves and ask our own opinion of things. There we go. Just let that dry for a second. And then I need another piece of basic white. Now, is that going to fit a die? Let's see. Because the sentiment's quite wide. Don't know that will fit. I could try. Oh, it might. Maybe that's the thing. Or I can just get another piece. Maybe I'll just get another piece, and that way then I know that I will not have an issue. Just make sure it's wide enough. Yes, the trimmer does have 2 sides that you can line up for cutting. I do find these numbers on the right hand side helpful when I only want to cut a small piece, and then I can still have the majority of my card or whatever on the other side, rather than trying to put something large on and you've got this end sort of flapping around. Just doing it that way makes it easy. Right, sentiment. Find a block. And the benefit of die cutting is simply that you can doesn't matter whether you've got it wonky or not, because you're going to die cut it and then add it. And I'm going to go for a different colour. No, maybe I'll just stick to Night of Navy this time. I don't always stick to one colour. So this is being recorded, so it'll be posted on here when I've finished. And then I do upload it to YouTube for those of you who prefer to watch things on YouTube. So yep, that's that. There's that little bit of washi tape again. Let's see if I can make sure that this stays how I want it. Like so. Stampin' emboss machine that I put on the floor, bring that back. So as I said earlier, as well as this being with 20% off for March, there are 3 stamps and dies which were bundles a while back, but recently have only been available separately. They are being rebundled and will be available with the 20% off. And then there are select bundles in the annual catalogue, current annual catalogue, which will be available with 20% off rather than the usual 10. Right, let's take that off. So this cuts out and leaves little holes, which are kind of reminds me of one of those life, what do they call them? Things that the lifeguards have that they can throw out, and you hold on to one end and they hold on to the other end, and they can haul you in if needs be. Heaven forbid. Right, let's see. Okay, glue this inside. Now I wrote up the instructions for this card, so I will add that somewhere. Just need to work it out. Facebook is not that helpful when it comes to adding a file or something. You can do it in a group, but you can't do it on a page. I'm going to put that on there. Now I need to remember when you're adding this on that you only want to glue it to that front portion here. If you glue it on this side, behind this side, you will end up with it just basically sticking the card shut, which is not such a good idea. And I'm just going to put it on with glue. This is where I realise I've actually put it on the wrong side. I don't think I have. No, I'm fine. And then I'm just going to centre that on the card front. Like so. And let's see. No, oh my goodness, I did all right on that one. Let's see if it's straight. Benefit of using the glue means that you can move things slightly whilst it's still wet. So happy with that. And then actually I might just put that on an angle rather than flat, just to be a little different. just going to put that on. So it kind of angles with the pelicans. And then, do we want to add some rhinestones? I think we might. So it looks like I've got one here that's decided to go on its travels. So I'll use that one. Let's see now. I might just put him on here. I always tell people not to spend too much time putting your rhinestones on, because once you start umming and ahhing about it, you could spend all day doing it. I don't know. Let's see. How many have I got there? 1, 2, 5. Well, that's about right. I like odd numbers. Works for me. Right, okay, so that's my card. And then obviously don't forget to decorate your envelope. You can just stamp it, or you can use double-sided paper. So that's my card from this morning. And then I'll bring back quickly the other cards that I've made. So we've got this one, and we have that one, and we have that one. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing those, and I will be in March and April in the States. So I will still be doing virtual card and the cuppers and stamping and creating events like this, except for the fact that I'm going to just move them to the afternoons. At least it'll be afternoons for you. So there will be at 2:30 on Wednesday afternoons, simply because I love you guys, but there's a 7-hour, well, there will be an 8-hour time difference in April, but in March there'll only be a 7-hour time difference, and 2:30 here is actually 6:30 in the morning there, so I might. So yeah, so that will work for me, but 10 o'clock in the morning here does not work for me. It's because that's 2 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, so I will still be around. Card and the cuppers in person are still happening. Linda and Trisha and Carol will be there. Kits for March have already gone in the post, and I know some people have already received them. There's still time to order April's, and then as I said, Linda and Trisha and Carol will be there with samples and be able to help you make your cards. Other than that, I've got a card class on the 26th of March where we're using the New Horizons paper, and it's called Making a Scene. So there's going to be 4 cards, sort of fun fold cards where we're actually using the paper to create a scene, as the name suggests. So the booking for that closes on the 5th of March. If you're interested, just simply go to oakvillecrafts.com, and then at the top you'll see classes, kits, tutorials, and you can then, there's a pop down that you can then book for the class if you would like. It'll be on Zoom on the 26th. What else do I need to tell you? Celebration is nearly at an end. So if there is a stamp set or some paper that you really wanted, you've got until the end of the month to put in that £45 order so that you can get your free stamp set or paper. Or if you want one of the larger bundles or stamp set, then it's a £90 spend. So again, you can just simply go to oakvillecrafts.com, and then at the top click on shop now. And what else? That's it really. So there'll be more details about this going online on the Facebook page on my blog very soon. Also details of the offer that starts next week with the 2% off the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and also the bundles. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Please leave a comment. If you've got any questions, also leave a comment, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Take care. Bye.